All right, good morning. Greetings, folks, to Compass Coffee Talk. I believe this is our 25th episode that we've been broadcasting each month, bringing you the leadership in entrepreneurship in natural and organic products, a new green economy that we hope can be a great alternative to the one we've been running on out there that can actually be helping to regenerate the planet. We're going to be talking about that a lot today with one of the OGs in the organic industry, Mark Retzloff. Before I introduce him, I'd like to say hey to my co-host, Bill Capsalis. Bill's the executive director of Naturally Boulder. We met a long time ago, working in yoga and mindfulness and a lot of other things, and also the Lohas industry way back when. So we've been working together and actually playing some music together for a long time as well. Bill is an amazing bass player. Yours truly, my name is Stephen Hoffman. I'm with Compass Natural. We're very happy to have you all here. Welcome this morning. You know, Compass Coffee Talk would not be possible without our sponsors. We started this to just maintain our reach with you through the pandemic when things were locked down, and we're just so grateful and pleased at your support, at the support of our sponsors and our amazing guests over the past 25 episodes. All of them are on YouTube. Look for us at Compass Coffee Talk. And then we have good news. We also just got approved for Spotify. So you'll soon be able to see Compass Coffee Talk on Spotify. I want to thank Genius Food out of the UK. They're in the US. They're a gut-loving bread with probiotics, delivers a host of benefits, prebiotics and fiber. They're in Sprouts Farmers Markets. I want to thank the Independent Natural Food Retailers Association, a great group of independent retailers across the country, more than 300 members. Support the independents out there. They have done a lot forever to bring us healthier foods, grown and produced in a way that's sensitive to local economies and our environment. I also want to thank Presence Marketing, one of the largest independent natural food brokers in the country. And then the Naturally Network, and we're actually going to feature the Naturally Network in August, of which Bill is a founding part. Also, Mark was a charter founder of Naturally Boulder, myself as well. But we'll be presenting folks from Naturally Chicago, Naturally New York, Naturally Network, the national group, and Bill will help us lead that discussion. So again, we're really happy to see you. And Mark Retzloff, really, the way I put it in promoting this is when the natural products industry's kind of modern day iteration got started with that full service natural retail concept, Mark was there at the vanguard. He was really helping set the new standards through alfalfa's markets. When things were going national, he was at the vanguard with the National Organic Production Act, really influential part, chaired that group, the Organic Alliance, I believe was its name, that brought fruition to that National Organic Act that brought today's USDA organic seal to the marketplace. When the public markets and the private equity markets, of which Mark is still very much involved, started paying attention to our maturing natural products channel, Mark again was there at the forefront. He's co-founder of Horizon Organic Dairy, former CEO of Rudy's Organic Bakery. He invests in a number of startup and emerging natural products brands. He serves on the board of a number of iconic, established organic and natural products brands. And he continues to support a lot of emerging entrepreneurs and players in the marketplace. And also a passion of his on the side, aside from he's a master gardener, he also is very passionate about education, big involvement in the Waldorf School. I believe it's University of Michigan is your alma mater, and he's a big supporter of the University of Colorado. And he's actually a lecturer, speaks. He's very much into educating the next generations of our green economy leaders. With that, I'd like to introduce Mark Retzloff. Mark, that was a long wind up, but hard for you to have a short resume at this point in time.
It's true.
Yeah.
All that history, here we are today. Maybe just to bring the attention of our entrepreneurs listening in, all that experience working with brands from a retailer's perspective, a manufacturer's perspective, an investor's perspective. Today, it's as challenging as ever for a natural product startup to get going. What draws your interest in emerging brands today?
Well, I think most importantly is it's something, first of all, that we don't have in the marketplace. Or is it an improvement on what we have in the marketplace? Do we need another sparkling water? Probably not. Okay. But so you look at, what's really, what's the innovation here? What's the difference here? What's going to make, at one point in the, we had a huge opportunity about going from conventional to organic. Okay. And now we're looking at going, from taking organic to the next step into regenerative agricultural based products. So I think, those are the bigger trends. The other ones are how do you add more nutrient density to the food that and we can talk a little bit about that because of the way, actually a lot of it depends on how the ingredients are grown and what we're doing with agriculture and so on and so forth, and the nutrient density that we can actually find greater amounts of by the way we practice our agricultural needs.
For those that may not understand, is there like an elevator explanation of regenerative, how that takes organic one step further to actually take a look at carbon, CO2, climate?
Okay, I'll give you an example based on a company that I'm the CEO of. It's called Climate Foods, and it's about using perennial rye. Well, the key with perennial rye, first of all, to reduce the amount of tillage in the soil. You're not disturbing the microorganisms and so on as much. Secondly, it uses a lot less water. Its roots go down because that's the way it's been done. Those deep roots get into a greater variety of micronutrients that are brought up. Plus, there's the carbon down in there deeply, and so that's part of that's a an ideal type of regenerative crop. But regenerative is also things on not tilling as much. You can we're now finding that no-till is helpful if you do it correctly. That means less carbon going into the atmosphere from the tractors and other things out there.
These tractors are getting big and heavy. They're compacting the soil.
Yeah, and you're not disturbing some of that work's going on down in the nutrients and the microorganisms down there in the soil by killing them all up and destroying them. Okay. You're not less tillage means there's less water escaping from the ground. Okay, it's going into the plants. So that's kind of generative. It's actually what I call it's getting back to kind of an environmental intelligence, understanding how everything that we do in the natural world has a relationship with everything else around. Mother Nature just doesn't have a lot of individual stuff. Mother Nature is all about the natural systems that we have, and we've been growing food and feeding ourselves for millennia and millennia and millennia. And initially, we weren't disturbing the stuff. Now we've got to the point where we've kind of looked at our soil as some kind of substrate that, and we've looked at nutrients go into it as some kind of chemical stuff. Reality is it's a very complex system. And regenerative ag has a tendency to look at the full system and how do we work together with everything so that we bring about tasting products that have have dense nutrient qualities in them. And so, and we're seeing a lot of changes going on with that. And I happen to be on the board of a company called Mad Ag, which is going out and working with farmers all over the country and helping them transition into more regenerative organic agriculture.
Oh, and that's Mad Agriculture, and Philip Taylor's involved with that, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mark, over the years, soil has been a pretty constant in your thinking and in your work. But how is it different today? Like what's going on that's different today? What is motivating things? And I want to come back to climate foods in a little bit, but yeah, what are you seeing out there in terms of like the changes that are occurring with brands and farmers and agriculture in general? How is it different all of a sudden?
Well, I think there's a lot of talk about regenerative organic agriculture.
Sure.
And so, that's getting out into not only just into the natural products and the folks that we spend a lot of time, but it's also, I sit on the board of the ag school up at the Colorado State University. And we're seeing in the incoming freshman students who want to go into agriculture, they want to go into regenerative organic agriculture. So, the schools have to begin learning about how do they talk about that? How do they teach it?
And that's coming from student demand and requests.
Students demand and requests. I mean, you just started a sustainable livestock coalition as well. And because in Colorado, we have a lot of livestock and a lot of stuff that's taught at the University of CSU on that. And so, and that's really working with the ranchers already that are out there, or farmers, and with the processors and with the consumers. So, I see that the academia is picking that up very quickly. The big ag and conventional ag, they're getting dragged into it as this larger CPG companies are beginning to see that that's what consumers are looking for and demanding out in the marketplace.
Yeah, there was just some news today about Nestle, world's largest food company, now starting to pay attention to regenerative agriculture. Now, how that gets to be authentic or greenwashed is yet to be seen.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing that, we have to be very diligent about watching what goes on. And actually, our industry has been very good at calling out the players who are not doing what they're saying they're doing. Okay, and I think that's
I gotta
very
say,
important.
yeah, but if a company like Nestle or General Mills does more fully embrace regenerative, that's where we really can change the world.
Definitely, because of the scale is what we really need to bring about that.
Right.
Organic is still very small as far as the number of acres and so on. It's growing, it's fastest growing in the food category, but it still doesn't accomplish a lot out there.
Would you say its influence outweighs its market penetration?
I think so. I think its influence is, I like it because it goes more to the younger generation. And so they're people who will be buying that and then, serving it to their children and their children's children and so on and so forth. So it becomes something it's knowledge about it. Steve, you were there at the beginning when we did the Organic Center for Research and Education. And that was all about getting the information out to the consumers about the benefits of organic agriculture and organic foods. And at that time, NMI had done a study that basically said that most people thought that natural meant organic. And we in the organic industry realized we had done a very poor job of communicating what organic was, what its difference was from natural foods.
Yeah.
So, and that was part of the impetus of starting the Organic Center up, and getting companies and individuals to support the research that we needed to have done. and the promotion of what we were doing. And we still can do a lot more than we do of that, but now we have a lot of good brands out there who are doing good work and bringing that message out to the people.
Yeah.
I have the company I'm involved in, which is Natural Habitats. It's the organic palm oil company. And we, not only are we doing it organic and regenerative and it's Greenpeace and certified. It's the Roundtable for Sustainable Palm Oil, organic certified, all these type of things. But the fact of the matter is that
I think we may have just lost a connection with Mark. Hope he can come back here shortly.
we were fighting the big oil companies.
There he is.
With the orangutans and so on, degrading. And
Yeah.
what, did you lose me for a moment there?
We lost you for just a moment. So
We're
if you want to go back to your palm oil thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we came out with a thing to really communicate and talk to about it, because in palm oil is in over 50% of all food and body care products out there.
Mhm.
And so we came back with what we called Palm Done Right. And we talked about how you can really do palm right. You can do it, you raise it organically. It's 7 times more sustainable than any other oil crop because it's a perennial. It's a tree that the oil comes off of. Okay, so those trees produce palm bunches that we use, that we just extract the oil from, for 30 to 35 years. So we're not doing any killing, we're not disturbing all that, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And but you have to do it right. You got to work with the people who are growing it right. You got to extract it correctly. You've got to all the processes have to be done in a sustainable and regenerative manner.
Yeah. Mark, there's so many directions we could go in, but I want to touch on packaging real quick. And I know you have some thoughts on this, but member of our community, Kelly Strong, makes a fabulous soup, and she's interested in how to harness the potential of circular packaging initiatives. She also just wanted to note that she's trying to source all of her ingredients from regenerative farmers in Southern Colorado, Valley Roots and Taproots. And so she's already on board with the regenerative, but what about the packaging issue? She's been putting her stuff in glass, I know, for a while. What are your thoughts on packaging just in general right now?
Well, I think if it's a soup, okay, I would look at it getting the water out of it. And here's why. Okay, water is very heavy when you're transporting it. Okay, if you could have all the ingredients, so all people have to do is add water to it. Okay, you're reducing a tremendous amount of weight, and that is being shipped all over. Okay, well, that's taking up carbon. Okay, by just in that, by that shipping. So
and it's costing more these days.
Absolutely.
He
Okay.
should be back with us shortly.
He'll be back. He'll catch up.
Interesting. As Mark comes back to join us, what I might mention. There you are.
Yeah, and it's and then you can be putting it into a lot of things. So we're finding now a lot of compostable packaging that we can use that is not, if it's not recyclable, but it's compostable, so it actually comes back for us. So I think that would be a suggestion on that particular product, that I would look at having it somewhere that you take, you don't have to put the water into it.
Huh.
At the point of manufacture.
Okay. All right. Good one. I think Steve might be a good time to go into a little bit of discussion here. Mark mentioned Climate Foods. He's the CEO of Climate Foods right now. I know it's a new initiative. There is a product coming to market from Climate Foods. What's most curious about this project, and I know a little bit about it in talking with Mark, that there's a real focus on this particular grain, rye, and also the story behind that rye. And Mark's always been a big fan of bringing commodity products to market, so because they change things faster when they're more commodity focused, like the palm oils. You want to talk about the rye a little bit, Mark, and the project, and then what your first product is and how that will come to market?
Okay, I got locked up there a second, but I think I got what you were talking about.
Okay.
So Climate Foods is I got introduced to a guy named Steve Applebaum, who is probably one of the foremost ecologists in our country, and has been doing work over the last 30 years of restoring compromised
Technology's working against us today, Steve.
that's been did you get any of that?
Not really, no.
What we got was you were working with this ecologist, plant ecologist, Steve
Steve
Applebaum.
Yeah.
And what I'm interested in, I think, even to carry on Bill's question, is it seems you're focusing on this perennial rye as a starting point. But to me, it seems like you may be building a model here for other regenerative crops.
That would make sense, yeah.
Right. I mean, we're looking at all, but sourcing all of our ingredients as the regenerative organic as well. Okay, because the bottom line is that all of us have a choice 3 times a day to make a decision for the climate rather than otherwise, by what we choose to eat. Okay, and so we're kind of the weather.
I'm thinking you should be back with us in a moment here, folks. Thanks for bearing with us.
By what did you hear any of that?
It's not fair. It really is not fair. But you're kind of coming in and out, Mark. And so I'm not sure where you left off exactly.
Okay, well, I think, I just got a message from Steve Wangler that we were having very high winds out here north of town, and that may be disturbing it, because I've noticed the high winds right outside my window.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're having them here in Boulder as well.
Yeah, wind had been the story of our life this year, obviously, with all of the things going on climate-wise, which relates to Climate Foods. Why Climate Foods? Why did you call it Climate Foods, Mark?
Yeah, there's an interesting thing here that I want to.
Okay, so anyway.
You're back.
Steve?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay.
No, I think you're looking to engage the consumer market out there and building awareness about through starting with a cookie and building on that. How do you educate consumers to value? Again, it's a question that I keep asking people when they say, you think organic is too expensive, try healthcare. So, you think regenerative is too expensive, it's going to get hot.
Right.
And these are ways we can take everyday actions, is where you were going with your we have a choice 3 times a day.
Right. I think that's where but anyway, so the perennial rye, the key thing is that it's a perennial, so it you don't have to break the ground except once every about 10 years when you kind of redo it again. The roots go very deep. They sequester about 3 tons of carbon per acre per year on that. And one of our goals is to get that up to a million acres that we're growing this perennial rye. And what we're the whole thing behind this is that we've found that the rye can be used in just about any product that wheat could be used in.
Mm-hmm.
So we, and it does not have the flavor that we think about when we have rye, that would be kind of a European dark rye type of flavor. It doesn't have any, it's very benign.
Huh.
So we're finding that we can substitute it in, and two things happen with that. We're sequestering carbon, but the farmers are being able to get paid for that carbon that they're sequestering into the ground. Okay, and we're putting together a whole program behind that, which, so first of all, they're not putting their tractors on the ground nearly as much, so that's helping that. They're, because the roots are steep, they don't have to use as much water in growing the plant. Those roots going down deep get access to a lot more nutrients that are in there through the microorganism biomes and the fungi and so on and so forth that are down there, and the rhizomes and so forth. So it's very positive in all those manners. It was kind of like Mother Nature put this perennial rye there, and we just kind of, bypassed that. We went out and put together other kind of products, and then we modified them through all kinds of things, to the fact that we weren't looking at the importance of having that interconnection with the environment under the ground, okay, in the ground, which is where the nutrients are put into the food. Okay, so what we're doing is that, hey, we're saying, hey, we're welcoming them back into our existence by this kind of a product. And
Patience, my friend, patience.
Yeah, we were doing good the last few minutes. Folks, I think Mark will be back here shortly.
Yeah, well, as soon as the wind changes direction.
Steve has still blowing out here, guys.
Yeah,
We know. We're I don't want to jump into something because then you come back.
yeah. So Mark, you were kind of wrapping up a little bit the story of the perennial rye, and also now you're coming to market with a flour and a cookie, right? Isn't there a cookie in the works?
Cookie's the first product that we're putting in the marketplace, and we're putting that together. I've got a team that's working with me on that, and I'm out fundraising right now for that, and we look to have a first product in the marketplace by the end of this year.
Are these crops grown in Colorado or the Midwest, or you're sourcing from the US?
Most of it's grown in the Midwest right now, but we know that there's species of that we can put all the way throughout most of North America. We have 2 species of the perennial rye.
So it's a bit of a response I want to give to Kelly Strong, who's asking about sourcing. It looks like she's trying to source from Southern Colorado. Kelly, I'm imagining you have relationships there, but there may be regenerative farmers throughout the Midwest or elsewhere that you might also explore sourcing from. I don't know much about this loop packaging program, but I know the folks over at Climate Collaborative, Alyssa Harding, she can talk to you a lot about packaging options that you may want to consider right when you're at this moment of making a decision. And Bill and I can help you with that if you want to talk to us offline. But I think those are 2 really great things. Those are great questions that we like to hear. How do I get to more sustainable packaging? How do I source from regenerative farmers? Well, when you're supporting those farmers to be regenerative, right? I mean, number one. And then I think packaging is the next issue for the natural foods industry. Our friends at Mamavation, one of the biggest kind of influencer watchdog groups out there, is finding actually a lot of these forever chemicals in food packaging, even in natural and organic products. So I think this is a challenge that our industry also needs to take on. our tiny little industry has to take on all these leadership positions and drag the conventional food industry and food and agriculture along, because these are the things that need to happen. We need to have safer, more sustainable packaging. We need to grow our food in a way that doesn't contribute to climate change and maximizes the nutritional benefits of that food. Mark, everything you've been talking about is about living soils. For the last 70 years with synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, it's like you said, we treat it like a substrate. We're killing that whole biosphere of the soil, which it's so interconnected. We're only beginning to learn about the role of fungi in our soil as like the neural system of our soil. These things contribute to living soils, contribute to living foods. And the great news is it also sequesters carbon, and by our food choices, we can reverse climate change. It's a bold statement, but would you gentlemen agree from the facts we're seeing that that actually is a valid point?
At scale.
Yeah, at scale. And I think that that's what we're working on. I mean, we're looking at, like I say, within 10 years, they have 1 million acres out there.
Whoa.
Okay. So
with perennial rye?
With perennial rye, but we're also looking at and working on other products as well. And as we move forward, if we on the cookie, we're sourcing perennial organic sugar. We're same thing, perennial organic. I mean, the raisins we're getting from are perennials. Grapes are perennials, okay, and we're getting organic in that. Same in cacao, okay. So those are the type of ingredients that we're looking to make sure that we, when we have a choice, we want to move to the perennial stuff and the obviously organic. So,
Mark, you've been investing also some in the hemp space, the cannabis space. Is there a role for that in regenerative production?
Well, hemp is certainly a product that can be being grown regeneratively and organic, and I think it's particularly and it has a lot of uses out there. Okay, it's it's a fiber that can be used in anything where fiber is necessary. Okay?
It's a superfood.
It's a superfood.
It's a medicine.
And I think it's a product that also gives farmers more of a higher income per acre on what they're growing. I mean, and any of these kind of things, we still need to get the technology and everything in there so that we can do it more effectively and efficiently and so on and so forth. But I think that the number of the land grant colleges are really doing a lot of test plots on hemp right now. And Steve, that's kind of in your ballpark right there on that. And it's
well, we're getting ready to produce the Southern Hemp Expo in Nashville in mid-August. We'll have a lot of Southeast hemp farmers down there. And, of course, there's a lot of conventional growers, but we're big advocates of promoting the value of organic and regenerative in hemp, how it can be part of a rotation as well. So it is, if you want to learn more, check out southernhempexpo.com. Yeah, is it going to be called Climate Cookie? Is that what you asked? You responded to Claris, Bill.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mark, we're starting to wrap up. We're getting a little bit over. You have contributed so much. You've really set standards out there. You're a mentor to a lot of people. You've been to me. While I get the lawnmower here and we wrap up, what's a legacy you want to leave behind here with all the work that you've been building on? What do you hope builds upon that in the future? Now I'm gonna shut my window while you answer.
Okay. I think the most important thing for me is that that we really build the knowledge of how we interact in the environment. It's just our environmental intelligence, and that that we're all part of the same stream, the same thread of life. Okay, that humans are all part of it, and we're interconnected with everything that's out there in nature and on this planet. And we also have the intelligence to be able to make the right decisions about that, not just on how we grow our food and what we eat and so forth, but how we work with people, how we take care of our environment in other ways is suffering. The way we relate with other people. I mean, look what's going on in the Ukraine and so on and so forth. So, there is there's just a lot of things out there that are interconnected that we have to be working on. And so for me, I'm devoting the rest of my life to these kind of issues. And wherever I've had a lot of experiences, and I've been very fortunate, and I know a lot of people, but I'm holding all my friends' feet to the fire. We got to do this stuff. We got to leave a world for our children and grandchildren that we were able to grow up in, with cleaner air and cleaner water and better food and better housing for everybody and education for people. And I mean, we could go on and on those things, but there is so much that we need to do in our society.
Well, when you say you're holding your colleagues' feet to the fire, that leads to a question I had in mind. Is this is what you're doing with your time and energy and resources, and what can our viewers also do? How can they get involved? And you're challenging them to rise to the occasion when you say you're going to hold their feet to the fire.
That's right.
I think part of it is to be, obviously we have one of the missions is to survive, okay, but I mean individually and so on and so forth. So we have to do certain things, but it's how you do it is so important. I mean, it's what you do, but when it all gets said and done, it's how you do it. And so that you take all these things that I was talking about into consideration, and you build that into your organizations and into your products and into how you produce your products and how you get them out into the marketplace. Okay. And that's the learnings that I'm fortunate to be successful, but it was really the type of people that we brought on board and that we brought into our organization and how we looked at things that made us successful out there.
We could talk for another hour, I know, on so many topics, because you're just bringing up the power of and the value of people in your organization. And yet that's another discussion. We're wrapping up our time here. I want to be sensitive to everyone. I'm so grateful and honored that you would join us, Mark Retzloff, on our small but mighty Compass Coffee Talk. Bill, you have any closing thoughts, questions, or comments you'd like to add?
Just a real quick one for Mark. Mark, one of our listeners, Mike Ham, would like to know if he could reach out to you after for a little advice on sourcing and some questions he has around his fresh teas. So is it okay for me to share your contact information with him?
Sure. I mean, I'm always open to those type of ideas or thoughts, and I can, if you can run me down, I'll definitely talk to him.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, Mike, we laud you for looking at the Regenerative Organic Certified seal. And we also are resources that can help guide you if that's something you want to take a look at as well. Bill and I both know a lot about that. And we're actually going to have those folks come and speak to the hemp community about that at Southern Hemp Expo There are actually some regenerative organic certified hemp farms, one being Pocono Organics in New York State. So we keep putting these out there because we want this kind of agriculture, or at least I do. I want a type of agriculture that doesn't poison the planet or the people or heat it up. And our food really is our medicine and can create vibrant, healthful communities. I know I'm standing on a soapbox, but I'm behind Mark 10 years or so, but I've been involved in promoting this for 35 years myself. So very grateful for all your support, all our viewers today. Thank you so much for joining us. Mark, any closing comments from you as we head on down the road?
I think the one thing is just everybody just make, be very clear that you are the weather, and you make your choices, and the choices you make a difference out there, and what's going on with our climate and with our society. So, think about what you can do from that perspective.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are the weather, folks. We
You
are.
the weather.
And, it's going to take a village on this one.
That's for sure.
Thank you. Stay
Thanks,
tuned
Mark.
for some upcoming episodes. In July, we're featuring Emerald Jane Hunter, a Black woman-owned public relations and marketing agency out of Chicago that's dedicated to natural and organic. We're very excited to talk to Emerald Jane. I'm excited to see what I can learn from her. In
Absolutely.
August, again, we're going to feature a panel talking about the value of the Naturally Network. The three of us have been very involved in that, and it's of tremendous value for entrepreneurs out there to link with mentors, learn about the business of natural products. So that'll be in August. In September, we're very excited to feature John Foraker, formerly CEO of Annie's Organics, and now working with the actor Jennifer Garner on Once Upon a Farm. So that's upcoming. Stay tuned. Again, thank you all, and have a great rest of the day, and stay tuned for the next Compass Coffee Talk. Mark,
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you. Bill,
All right,
my
guys.
co-host,
Good to see
thank
ya.
you as well. And a shout
Bye.
out to our admin out there behind the scenes, Evan
Evan.
Tompros, who helped makes all this happen. Thank you,
Go,
Evan.
Evan. Thank you.
Folks, take care.
Great. See ya.